Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Decoding Business Growth, Season 2. I'm your host, A.B. Ravi. This week's story reminds me of the moral science lesson taught during my school days. Well, it's the story of Robert Bruce, the King of Scotland. In one of the many battles he fought, he was defeated. So he ran away and hid himself in a cave. Feeling bitter and ashamed, he had almost given up when his eyes chanced upon a spider trying to weave a web. And the spider kept falling again and again. It was only in the 8th attempt that the spider finally succeeded. This spider's never say die attitude inspired King Bruce. He went out of the cave, mobilized his army and defeated his enemy. So the moral of the story is try and try till you win and succeed. Perhaps the hero of this week's story, G.S.K. Velu, took the moral science lesson seriously. Right from his childhood days, it was clear that he wanted to be part of the healthcare industry. But it was easy said than done. At every stage in his life, he encountered all kinds of problems that would make any person give up the battle halfway. But not Velu. Like the epic hero Arjuna, he only saw the bird's eye. Today, Velu's brainchild, Trivitron Healthcare, has emerged as India's largest medical technology company in the healthcare equipment space. Take a look at Trivitron's story and you know how to transform a trading firm into a full-fledged manufacturing company by being laser-focused.
To Hell and Back is the story of G.S.K. Velu, the man who founded the Trivitron Healthcare group of companies. Thanks to his intense healthcare focus, Velu, in 2 decades, could make a mark in the healthcare world, both in India and abroad. And his doggedness shows. Today, Trivitron has emerged as the largest integrated medical technology company. With an army of 1,500 employees spread over 25 offices and 8 manufacturing plants located in Chennai, Mumbai, Pune and Helsinki in Finland, the company offers 360-degree solutions in laboratory medicines, imaging ultrasound machines, critical and cardiac care, operating rooms and ophthalmology, along with providing expert consulting services. Velu's vision is to manufacture the most innovative medical technology products as well as provide efficient services and solutions to make healthcare affordable and accessible to everyone across the globe. Towards meeting this objective, he has adopted a multi-pronged strategy of combining local innovation, encouraging frugal engineering and partnering with MNCs besides going in for acquisitions. For instance, Trivitron has tied up with Apollo hospitals for 2 ventures. One is in the area of dental and the other is in dialysis. In the case of joint ventures, it has already signed 6 agreements with global players like Aloka of Japan and Biosystems of Spain. These strategies have made it possible for Trivitron to have a pan-India presence as well as a presence in South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East and Africa. So how did a trading company transform into a full-fledged R&D driven manufacturing company? Well, the seeds were sown while Velu was studying. Born into a middle-class family, Velu had to walk 10 kilometers every day to attend the Tamil medium government school in Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu. His father was suffering from diabetes, so young Velu dreamt of becoming a doctor to cure his father. He came within striking distance of that by scoring 97.5% in PCM. But the reservation issue and lack of funds saw him not entering a medical college. That was in 1984. But Velu was determined. So he majored in B.Pharm from BITS Pilani in 1988 and landed a job with IMI, a firm distributing medical equipment. After working for 2 years, he floated his own venture, Allied Healthcare, in 1990. But things did not go as he planned. So he joined Chiron Diagnostics in 1992 as regional head. this job gave him international exposure and good grounding of the medical equipment industry. Now he was confident. Wasting no time, he plunged headlong into this sector with an investment of 25 lakh rupees. That was 1997.
In the age of 2021, I became an entrepreneur by accident. There was no, before that in our family, there's nobody who has been an entrepreneur or a business person. My father was a librarian, and we come from a lower middle class family, and that's how I grew up. So my boss offered me to be a partner. That was the first time I knew what was an entrepreneurship. So it is not a planned journey. It is just by accident I became an entrepreneur. But when we went through that journey for 2-3 years between 90 to 92, then it got into my mind of being an entrepreneur, creating some impact and doing something different. And that was in my mind even after going to my multinational career with Siba Conning and Chiron between 92 to 97, before I floated Trivitron and co-promoted Metropolis from 1998.
Well, Velu was smitten by the business bug. Within a year of incorporating Trivitron, he and Dr. Sushil Shah co-founded Metropolis, a path lab chain in 1998. However, on the flip side, there was a setback. His joint venture with Chiron Diagnostics fell apart, thus shattering Trivitron in 2000. But Velu was no quitter. He relaunched Trivitron by roping in the relatively unknown international medtech brands. He managed to get a toehold in the market by providing high-quality after-sales services. Soon, it dawned to Velu that manufacturing, not trading, was the prescription to growth. In 2009, he entered into a joint venture with Hitachi Aloka of Japan.
2002 to 2007, we had all big businesses like Fresenius, Zerbe, Hamilton, Boston Scientific, many businesses we did. But all of this, our companies, the distribution is a very difficult job. If you do well, you get terminated, and you don't do well also, you get terminated, because that's we learned it in a hard way. So at some point of time, we decided if we want to become a long-term sustainable company, standing to our own philosophy of making healthcare accessible and affordable to a larger set of the population, then we need to become our own manufacturer and our own innovator. So this is how we decided as a management team in 2007 to sit and think, how can we become a manufacturer? So our first manufacturing activity in reality started from 2010, and from within this past 5 years, being a pure trading company, we have become a full-fledged manufacturing and innovation company.
Then he followed the joint venture with Biosystems of Spain for manufacturing in vitro diagnostic regions. Impressed by Metropolis and Trivitron's success, Dr. Pratap C. Reddy of Apollo Hospitals fame invited Velu to be his partner for Apollo White Dental Clinics and Apollo Dialysis Clinics in 2011. Joining hands with Apollo boosted Velu's confidence and business. He also ventured into ophthalmic care through Maxivision Super Speciality Eye Hospitals, which has served over 2.4 million patients in 6 cities through its 12 super specialty eye hospitals. All these expansions, joint ventures and tie-ups are yielding rich dividends. The Trivitron Group's revenue has jumped from 200 crore rupees in 2010 to 650 crore rupees in 2016. While its operating profit has gone from 16 crore rupees to 78 crore rupees during the same period. Well, Trivitron's balance sheet certainly seems to be in the pink of health. On that note, time for a short break. When we come back, CNBC TV 18's A.B. Ravi speaks to Gautam Benjamin of ICICI Securities to understand the anatomy of Trivitron. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It has been a roller coaster ride for G.S.K. Velu from the word go. Yet, he has managed to emerge as a force to reckon with in the Indian healthcare equipment sector. CNBC TV 18's A.B. Ravi caught up with Gautam Benjamin of ICICI Securities to get an investment banker's view of this self-made entrepreneur. Take a look.
Gautam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ravi.
Gautam, I begin by asking you, in the area of technology, the healthcare sector has not seen any great development except for some frugal engineering. Any reason why we are behind this curve? Is it because of the huge spend or the long gestation period?
I think the two reasons that you mentioned contribute to it, but in addition, I would say there are maybe 2-3 more factors. First, I think government policy has not entirely been sort of supportive of manufacturing medical devices in India.
Okay.
It was cheaper to actually import the finished product and than to import, let's say, the raw materials into the country. That was one sort of factor that sort of affected matters for a number of years. The other couple of reasons, I think, is because of lack of capital. Capital has not really been available in this industry until in the last 15-20 years, where private equity has sort of helped in developing this industry. Capital as well as the government policies, I think, are two other factors which sort of stymied the growth of this sector in a significant way.
So when I look at a company like Trivitron, despite a lot of challenges, G.S.K. Velu in his own way has been espousing affordable healthcare. So what is your first impression of this company and of this man?
Velu as an individual and as a promoter is someone who is very visionary. He is someone who has seen the big picture quite early on in his career. He also has had the experience of working in healthcare and medical devices in a job for a number of years. He has used all that experience and all the connect that he has to actually start out on his own. He also has been able to access capital for his ambitions.
Okay.
He's dealt with private equity in over the years, successfully given several of them exits, and he has also been able to fine-tune a strategy over the years. Initially, he started off as a distributor of medical devices.
Yeah.
And as the opportunity sort of became more apparent and as capital also became more available to him, he shifted gears and was able to move from being just a distributor to a manufacturer and distributor. He has a very clear idea of what he wants to be, both, let's say, in the Indian market as well as in the overseas market. He has ambitions of being a global player, and I think he is well on his way to achieving that ambition.
Okay, the other thing that comes about Mr. Velu is opted for inorganic growth as well as strategic tie-up to grow his business. So what kind of competitive edge has this given him in the marketplace? All the big names also going with him.
Yes. See, the whole medtech industry across the world has grown through M&A. It's very difficult to build a product portfolio in a linear fashion.
Okay.
So the only way you can assemble a wide enough product portfolio is to do M&A. And I think he has done a combination of mergers and acquisitions as well as tie-ups with global majors, so that he's able to offer a full range of products in the domestic market, as well as fulfilling his ambition of going overseas and being part of the global ecosystem.
Gautam, this is very unusual. It seems to be paying a higher import duty for raw materials and components compared to finished product. So landed price of imported product seems cheaper, yet it has managed to stay profitable. What makes this possible for this company?
I think 3 things he's been able to do quite successfully. One is he's been able to indigenize a large part of the manufacturing. So while the core electronic components may be imported, a lot of the non-core items like the power electronics and the body, etc., he's been able to manufacture locally, thereby reducing cost of his finished products. Also, obviously, the labor arbitrage is significant. He's made use of that.
Yeah.
And thirdly, I think he has slowly, in the industry as well as he has been, lobbying with the government to change this inverted duty structure, as they call it.
Yeah.
And they've had some success in the recent past. I think there have been some increase in import duties on finished medical devices, etc. So the combination of all of that has made it quite possible for him to be cheaper than a lot of imported. There is another factor, which is he's able to customize product for the Indian market. A lot of the imported stuff.
That's what it's giving an edge over other people.
Absolutely. A lot of the imported product could be over-engineered for the Indian needs, whereas he is able to make a product which is absolutely suited for what Indian requirements are, and that helps him lower the cost.
So it's
also
tailor-made product for Indian
absolutely
market.
It's a tailor-made product.
So when you look at his current growth rate, where do you see this company 5 years from now in terms of top line, bottom line, or market share?
Well, the industry is growing at a very healthy clip of 15% per annum and is expected to grow at that rate for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So the opportunity is very large. He is already in the top 2-3 largest players in that segment. He is also very effectively transitioning from being a largely distributor-led company to a combination of distribution and manufacturing. I think he will continue to remain in that top leadership position, and therefore I see him beating the industry growth rates and growing to a size where he would, only increase his market share from where it is currently.
Gautam, very well put. Thanks a lot for being on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi.
Well, that was Gautam clinically analyzing G.S.K. Velu and his company Trivitron. On that note, it's time for another small break. When we come back, we look at the road ahead for the Trivitron Healthcare Group. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Trivitron Healthcare under Velu has certainly made its mark with people who matter the most, the private equity players. Impressed by Velu's story, 8 Roads Investment and India Value Fund Advisors have invested in the company.
We started out really liking the sector and having the belief that the sector is very attractive. And within that, when we started our dialogue and discussions with Trivitron, there were very many things that appealed to us, starting with, first of all, the focus of the company, which is both on imaging as well as on diagnostics. We liked the fact that when we started a discussion with them, they were transitioning from being a predominantly trading company to a manufacturing company, and that, again, in the recent past, with the whole Make in India theme, I think just lends more credence to the strategy. And finally, Dr. Velu, who was a proven entrepreneur. He was energetic. He had built around him a really strong management team. And when we said that when we put this massive opportunity along with a management team and entrepreneur like Dr. Velu and the focus on the sectors that were of interest to us, it made all the sense for us to invest in it. So,
with backing from private equity players, the company has already made a few acquisitions. In 2012, it acquired the Finnish group Lab Systems Diagnostics for 110 crores to enter into point-of-care immuno and molecular diagnostics. While in 2014, it bought out Kiran Medical Systems to strengthen its position in the diagnostic imaging product segment. Both these acquisitions are contributing 100 crore rupees each to the group's top line.
So the Kiran and Lab System really made the turnaround for Trivitron from being actually these two are the brands now. Kiran is our imaging brand and Lab Systems and is our clinical lab brand. So these two brands are now going across the world, and both these brands are almost, Lab Systems is 35-40 years old brand and Kiran is almost 25 years old brand. So when he acquired these two companies 100%, and that made the transformation of Trivitron from being a distribution company to manufacturing company complete. So today the Lab System, we are very proud to say that we are the world number 2 in newborn screening. The technology which is very much required to countries like India, and though we have a big gap between the number 1 and number 2, we have put a lot of R&D money over the past 3 years.
Apart from inorganic growth, Trivitron has invested in organic growth too. It has established South Asia's first state-of-the-art medical technology park, Trivitron Medical Technology Park, spread over 25 acres in Sri Perumbudur, 35 kilometers from Chennai. 2 manufacturing facilities in joint ventures with Hitachi Aloka of Japan and Biosystems of Spain are operational. Interestingly, the company's Lab Systems Diagnostics IVD factory was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Prime Minister of Finland, Juha Sipilä, on 13th Feb 2016.
We have also transferred some technology from our factory in Finland, and this factory is ultra modern, and it has got all the facilities to make many new products, and these products we are getting approval from FDA and CE marking, and ultimately it will find its way into the world market and it can sell anywhere in the world.
Now, plans are to set up 15 such factories in the near future to cater to the domestic and global markets. Velu, who had to exit Metropolis Smart Labs earlier because of boardroom tussles, is now toying with the idea of re-entering that space soon. Velu is also contemplating venturing into areas like analytics labs through MaxiVision.
We would like to first enter into the analytical testing through the food testing. The reason why we have chosen the food testing is the food law has become very stringent in the recent past, and both the products that are food products that are being imported and exported need the certification. So we will start with the food labs and then expand our capabilities in the clinical testing in the analytical labs, and at some point of time we will definitely get into the pathology testing and the clinical path lab testing.
Clearly, Velu's dream of making Trivitron an Indian-born global story is now even stronger than before, with the government moving its focus towards the Indian medtech sector. India has reached the inflection point. With government encouragement to Desi entrepreneurs, things are certainly looking up for the SME sectors. And for a group like Trivitron, which is already creating waves in the medical technology space, one may not be surprised if it becomes the future Infosys or Biocon.
Well, it is an interesting story of a self-made entrepreneur. G.S.K. Velu's roller coaster ride would make a good script for a Bollywood movie. What impresses me about Velu is his grit, determination and passion. He knew where he wanted to go and how he wanted to go. This singularity of purpose is what made Velu succeed in business. On that positive note, it is time to say goodbye. See you next week with another interesting episode. Till then, keep watching CNBC TV 18.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.